Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Toxin Free podcast. Today's a little mini episode, and it's all about migraines. And the reason why we're doing this episode is because if you follow me over on Instagram, you know that I just got back from Bali. And literally within 24 hours of returning from the most amazing trip I have ever had in my entire life, I also, for the first time in over 10 years, got what I would consider the worst migraine I've had in the history of my entire life. And that's actually saying a lot because I'm somebody who suffered significantly from regular awful migraines for over 18 years. I did the math right before we went live. And I know how to handle a migraine. But back in the day when I used to have migraines, I did not handle them holistically at all whatsoever. I was popping Excedrin migraine multiple times a week just to survive. It was not something that, I knew anything about holistic living at the time. And I just did what everyone told me to do. And I saw a lot of doctors who gave me a lot of drugs. And I did all of the food elimination diets and all the things that when you have a migraine, all the paces that, the medical establishment puts you through. But nobody really talks about the root cause of migraines and or things that you can do holistically or naturally. And I've been kind of on a kick over on my Toxin Free shopping guide. I'm starting to create a wellness cabinet section. I already talked about seasonal allergies, and there is a section over on my shopping guide where you can find all of my seasonal allergy holistic remedies. And today we're going to dive into when I got that migraine. What did I do? What did I use? What worked? And we're just going to jump right in. Here we go. Before we jump into this week's episode of the Toxin Free podcast, if you're a listener, you already know I don't take sponsored ads. I don't take money from brands. I don't allow paid advertisements on my podcast. What I do is I share the brands and the products that I love and I just think are to die for and that everybody needs. I give you a affiliate discount link. You get a discount and I take the commissions and I help pay for this amazing show. So here's the thing that I absolutely love and that every single person needs in their kitchen. It is the Titanium Pro pan. It is a non-stick pan, but without the coating. It is the only one on the market that is not cast iron, so you have to season it and take care of it, and it's kind of heavy, or carbon steel, or something that you have to learn to take care of. No, 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 no. The Titanium Pro pan actually has little tiny rivets built into the pan itself that when you add oil or butter or ghee or tallow, because I know you're not using seed oils if you're listening to this podcast, it is naturally non-stick, but there is no coating, which means there is no coating to ever rub off, not work. Eggs just slide around easily. It's literally the best pan that you will ever own. You're going to want all of them. I own all of them. You can cook with them up to 700 degrees and they will last decades. I'm going to be passing these pans on to my kids. I love them. You need them. Head on over to the show notes for a link to get a discount. All right, back to the show. Okay, so here's what happened. Literally 24 hours after getting back from Bali, I started having just tension in my lower neck, like on the back of my neck. And it just slowly started to creep up and up and up. And those of you who have suffered from migraines, you know you always have a tell. And because it's been so long, I have not suffered from migraines since my daughter was a baby. Back when I got rid of synthetic fragrances and really went toxin free ish, we have the majority of toxins not in our products, not in our home, not in our kitchen. Ever since I did that, not only has her eczema cleared up, but I also don't get migraines anymore. And I realized and recognized that synthetic fragrances and other toxins are triggers for me. And I didn't know. I spent my entire childhood and teenagehood buying Victoria's Secret body sprays and fragrances. And I just, never even thought about it. And it's interesting because that entire time, 18 years of having migraines, I was taking Excedrin migraine and I messed up my health and I messed up my gut and I did so many things to my body that were so unnecessary. And I saw doctor after doctor after doctor, and neurologist after neurologist, and nutritionist after nutritionist. And nobody ever gave me really any answers except for I tried a lot of experimental medications, the Botox injection thing, just all of these things that are kind of take this and it'll go away, but we're not going to talk about the long-term side effects of it. And because I am so staunchly, steeped in the holistic remedy world, and this is really the first time that I ever got a massive migraine since coming to this side of things. And so I want to share with you exactly what I did because as this migraine, I knew it was a migraine the minute I got nauseous. That was always my tell. If I started to feel pain in the back of my neck, and then I got nauseous, I knew a migraine was coming. And I kind of had a panic moment where I was like, this isn't actually happening. It's been too long. Like, I don't get these anymore. I was in such denial. And then it hit me so hard that I really felt like I might die. And it's interesting because psychologically, when you have somebody who is in chronic pain, you do get a really high pain tolerance. And I had gotten to a point in my life where I had a really high pain tolerance. And since I don't get migraines anymore, let me tell you what a baby I am. Like, whiny baby. Like if I get an allergy headache or, any kind of headache or pain of any kind, I am like the biggest baby on the planet because my pain tolerance is so low now because I don't have chronic pain. So, this is what I did. The first thing I did, I chugged 2 massive glasses full of water that had electrolytes, trace minerals, and magnesium. And that's because I had just gotten off of a 30-hour flight. And when you're traveling from Bali to Dubai, which is the direction that I came in, they put you through security and you can't bring water on the plane because the security is right in front of the gate that you're about to get on. And we only had a 1 hour layover in Bali or from Bali to Dubai. And then Dubai, we had a 1 hour layover. And so I had 1 hour to get to my flight. And so I didn't have time to chug a bunch of water. And then when we get on the plane, even though they feed you, they give you these tiny little cups of water. And so I was constantly asking for water, but I knew after that long of a flight, I was probably really, really dehydrated and just flying in general. It's a really dry environment. So that was the first thing I thought. I thought, you know what? I'm just really dehydrated. And if you want to go listen to the episode that I just did with Dr. Abby Kramer, which is the last episode, I have her French Heals electrolytes. So it was the whole food electrolytes, unflavored, plus the trace minerals, plus I added a scoop of the magnesium because sometimes headaches are a magnesium deficiency. I know a lot of people that have healed their migraines by just adding some magnesium baths into their life. Okay. Like a lot. And so that was the first thing I did. 2 big glasses full of super hydrating clean water. And so the next thing I did was I took a drop of peppermint essential oil onto my thumb and I held it to the roof of my mouth. And anybody who's ever done this knows it is the greatest feeling in the world. Number one, it really helps with nausea. So if you're somebody who suffers from nausea, that is like a hack. I always have peppermint essential oil on me, like always. But when you put it on the roof of your mouth, you can feel it start to the menthol, the natural menthol that's in peppermint, it starts to spread up through your head and into your head and into your skull area. I don't even know what to call it. My skull, I don't know, but you can kind of feel it in the inside. It like works its way from the bottom of your face, like up through your head. And it's kind of like a mix between a numbing and a cooling and a relaxing sensation. It just feels really, really good. And if I ever had like, I don't know, any kind of like just normal headache from like being tired or staring at my screen or like head tension or anything like that. Maybe I was sitting in my chair too long, my shoulders were like giving me a tension headache. Peppermint on the roof of my mouth is like my go-to. So that was the second thing that I did. And I was really glad that I did that because it helped my nausea a ton, like immediately. Also, really good for heartburn. So keep that in mind if you're somebody who has heartburn issues. So that was the second thing I did. The third thing I did was I turned on my diffuser. A lot of times headaches, migraines can be emotional. And at that time, when I was coming back from Bali, my ex husband and I had just sold our house and I had to get movers and I had to put everything into storage. And there was just a lot of logistics and a lot of like emotional closure happening in my life at the time. And so it was just stressful. I had like a lot of this internal stress happening. And I thought, okay, maybe this is like all being caused from stress and also jet lag. Severely, severely jet lagged. Bali's a 12-hour difference. So I was like totally flip flopped. So I reached for an oil blend called M-Grain. It's a Young Living blend. It has basil, it has lavender, it has peppermint, it has other oils in it. And it's basically an emotional calming oil, a relaxing oil, a grounding oil. And so I really wanted to reach that part of like my brain, that ancient lizard brain, that limbic system. Aromatherapy is really amazing for calming your body and calming your nervous system. And so that was the third thing that I did. I took M-Grain, I put it in my diffuser, and I turned it on. And so it's really interesting because I don't love the smell of it, but there is something that immediately happens that really is calming. And I don't know if it's because I know that that's what it does, but it was really immediate and I was really grateful. So I was like, okay, I have kind of the basics of what I feel like could be the root cause of what's happening. I am super hydrated. I've got some peppermint in my mouth to help with like any tension. Maybe it was because I was on a flight for 30 hours and my shoulders are super tense. So I took care of that and then I went ahead and put my diffuser on, which always helps. So I was like, okay, I think that this will be like, I'm going to nip it in the bud. It did not nip it in the bud. It continued. It continued to get worse and worse and worse. So I was like, okay, what's next? So I took, if I don't know if anybody listening to this owns an ice mask. If you are somebody who suffers from migraines and you do not have an ice mask, I will link it in the show notes. It's on Amazon. It is not expensive. It is literally the greatest thing on the planet. And I feel like anyone who has like major sinus issues or like eye strain or migraines in general, like it's just a really good thing to have for a lot of reasons. But I used to own like 10. Like if you would open the freezer at my house, there was like 10 different. I'm like, listen, they disappear, people borrow them, I use them, I forget to put them back in, but like I can't be without an ice mask. And they're basically like the sleeping blackout masks, but you put them over your head. It's kind of like a cap. It goes over your eyes and a little bit over your forehead and over your head. And the ice just constricts the blood flow, and that can really, really help with pain in general. And also just again, calming. There's something really calming about being cold, and the cold itself and all the restriction that happens, oftentimes that can really help. So I grabbed my ice mask, but before I did that, I took a roller blend of Deep Relief. And Deep Relief is something that is an essential oil blend that is used for pain. So like muscle soreness, you pull a muscle or something like that. It's got oils in it that are similar to like those sports rubs that you find, but it's just a high quality grade essential oil blend of it. It's called Deep Relief. Also, if you have headaches, something really good to always have around. So because the pain was coming from the back of my neck and like rolling its way up my head, I rolled it all over my hairline. There's like a little roller at the top in the essential oil blend. When you roll it on, it just like goes all over. And I massaged it into the back of my neck and up in my hairline and all over the place to get all of those like muscle soothing, oils into my head. And then I put the ice mask over my head. And I went and I laid down on my acupressure mat, which is my prana mat. And acupressure is actually something else that's really good for headaches. And so I thought, well, if it's tension, then that would be the thing that would definitely, help a ton. So I did like a 15-20 minute session laying on my acupressure mat with my ice mask, and I already had the Deep Relief on, and I literally just laid there in absolute misery and prayed for it to go away in complete darkness, because when you have a migraine, the last thing you want is to be like in like the light. And after 20 minutes, I was like, okay, the like I want to vomit, I want to die was starting to kind of relax, and I was starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. And so after that session was over, I got off of the acupressure mat. I took my mask off, and the very last thing I did was I grabbed my Loombox red light device. There is so much science showing that red light therapy can decrease inflammation and can improve not just the frequency of migraines when used regularly, but how acute the pain is. The reason why I grabbed my Loombox, number one, I was in so much pain I didn't want to stand up in front of my like full body one, but I was able to take it because it's portable and it's battery operated, which is one of the things that I love about it. I put it on the back of my neck and I laid on it. And so I did like a 12-minute session with both red light frequencies on it, did my session. And in the time that I was doing my session, I put my ice mask back in the freezer, finished my session, put my ice mask back on, and I passed out. And I passed out for a very, very long time. I think I woke up like 15 hours later. And when I woke up, my headache was completely gone. And so I did a lot of things. I just listed a lot of things. And so I can't say like, oh, the peppermint that I put on the roof of my mouth, or maybe I was dehydrated, or maybe, it was the ice mask or the acupressure mat. Maybe I was under a lot of tension, or maybe it was because I was diffusing essential oils and I was really under a lot of emotional stress and that like really helped me calm down. I don't know. It could be a combination of all of the things because I hit it pretty hard, but I kicked it. And I will tell you that back when I used to suffer so bad from these, it would take days to recover. Days. It was rough. Even when the actual pain was gone, I still had major brain fog. Because I was taking medication, I had rebound headaches really bad. And I know some of you were listening to this and you're like, girl, why didn't you just take an Excedrin? And I could have. I could have. I have a little bit of trauma over taking so much Excedrin over the course of my life and really messing up my gut and my liver and all of that. And so I don't want to touch the stuff. I will if I absolutely have to. Like if I had to get up and go to work the next morning, I probably would have really weighed the pros and cons of that. But it's just not something I want to do anymore because I've been there and I've done that. And I also hate the rebound headaches. In some cases, for me at least, the rebound was almost like worse than the original. And so it's just a road I don't want to go down. So all of these holistic tools, the nice thing is these are things I use all the time. I lay on my acupressure mat most days. I do red light therapy every single day. I diffuse my essential oils all the time. And so, what I love is that I just already had these things in my house. All of these things are good for me. All of these things are safe. And I woke up and I was like, oh, no brain fog. I was back to normal and I was ready to go. So, these are some of the things that I think it's important that we talk more about. There are natural remedies that do work really well. We don't always have to grab our pharmaceuticals right away. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong if you need that. I'm not shaming anybody. I'm just saying there are holistic options that are better for us. So I created an entire migraine section over on my toxin free shopping guide. And everything that I just talked about, I've got linked over there. I've got some discount codes for like the Loom box and for the Prana Mat and for the essential oils and some of the things that I do is for the electrolytes. It's all there in one place and it's under Wellness Cabinet. And my hope is to continue to do these little mini episodes so that, we'll add more natural remedies to that section and you can have this one-stop shop for all of your holistic natural remedy needs. Thank you so much for being here. If you loved this episode, leave a review. Listen, I read every single one of them. Every one of them. I appreciate them so deeply. And if you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment. What is your favorite holistic remedy? Do you have something that you found that works for you? I want you to share about it. I want you to share that with my audience. All right, everyone. I'll see you next week.